everybody, it's your friend and your guy and your favorite soon-to-be haiku gamer, Gardner. 10 years ago, I was a rather young lad. I was still wet behind the ears when it came to the Linux desktop. I was gung-ho about it, but I didn't know a whole lot. And truthfully, I was a console gamer. Since time immemorial, that's just how I've preferred to play my games. With few exceptions, games like Mario and Zelda, Crash Team Racing, stuff like that. Perfect Dark, great example. All games that I found just to be easier to do. You just plug in the controller, pop in the cartridge, and turn on the console, and there you go. Aside from like PC staples like SimCity or The Sims or Command & Conquer or like Unreal Tournament or something, I've really just preferred console games. And for the longest time, PC gaming kind of had this reputation of being all about the strategy and the first-person shooter games. Two genres that I'm not super big on, except for Command & Conquer and SimCity. Then came Call of Duty, and it kind of like crossbred with console gaming. And then console gaming kind of went its own weird chimera way, right? That's why I found indie gaming so incredible. It captivates the magic of the early days of console games, but it also has like the arcade fun and the classic, just pure essence of what a video game is and should be. And even just like 11 years ago, it was kind of rare to see the essence of video games, like what I would consider to be the real fun part of video games on PC. And 10 years ago, being a console gamer was kind of a boon to my Linux endeavors. If I wanted to play games, I just booted up my 360 or any of my retro game consoles. And if I wanted to get work done, I just turned on my laptop and there we go. We got Linux. We have productivity. I wasn't being held back by having hundreds or thousands of dollars invested into a Steam account. Back then, Steam didn't exist on Linux. And I didn't even have a Steam account. I made my Steam account February 13th of 2012, okay? And like I said, I had a 360, and I was playing absolute gems from Xbox Live Arcade. Games like Braid and Limbo and Bastion and Shank and Fez on my 360. Wow. There was a reason the Xbox 360 was as dominant as it was. But then something special happened. Something kind of magical. The Humble Indie Bundle caught my attention. And not only were these games that I was already playing on Xbox Live available for PC, they were available for Linux. SOLD, man. I was sold. I was so on that so fast. And again, this was before Steam for Linux was a thing, okay? I bought my first Humble Bundles before Steam for Linux existed, before it was even an inkling in anyone's eye. I remember buying the second Humble Bundle that I ever bought, and then seeing on Gaming on Linux that there were rumors that Steam might be coming to Linux because they had like taken apart the shell script for the macOS launcher, and they were able to see, oh, Linux was mentioned in it. That's how long ago this was, my dudes. This was forever ago. Well, speaking of forever ago, wouldn't you know it, the Humble Indie Bundle just turned 10 years old. That's why we're talking about this, because they have a new anniversary bundle, the Humble Indie Bundle 21. And it's kind of like a greatest hits of the Indie Bundle collections over the years, with a couple new games sprinkled in there for good measure. It's got a choice selection this time. It's got Hotline Miami, Beat Cop, Dust Force, some coloring books, Moonlighter, Hypnospace Outlaw, and Starbound, with a bunch more games that are coming midweek. If you want to help out the show, you can use the affiliate link in the description. That's the link. You'll help the show out. I get a small percentage if you use that link, and you can also use that link to purchase other things on there. It helps the show out. I really appreciate it. But I wanted to take this opportunity to talk about the history of Humble Bundle and how it kind of has affected Linux gaming, because I feel like it's very important. It actually made a huge difference in the Linux gaming world. Before the Indie Bundle, you had like one company that was publishing games, and you had wine. Humble Bundle came in and was like, hold on, we got some new fresh blood for you Linux boys, and people bought it up. And honestly, I think I wouldn't have this channel today if it wasn't for the humble bundles. And you know what? I'm not going to talk about every single indie bundle, but I'm going to talk about the ones that stood out to me, the games that meant a lot to me. And yeah, so let's just jump into that. Now, the first indie bundle that I ever bought was actually in 2011. It was the Humble Indie Bundle 4. This one came with BIT.TRIP Runner, Super Meat Boy, Shank, Cave Story Plus, and a couple others. And if you paid more than the average, you actually got the entire previous indie bundle to go along with it. That included VVV, Cogs, Crayon Physics Deluxe, and a few others. And it's so cool to me because I opened up my Steam library as I was writing this, and I saw Crayon Physics Deluxe in there. And I'm like, dude, I bought that game like 10 years ago, or like, I guess 9 years ago. But it's still so cool to me that like, if you bought a game, a digital game, 10, 20 years ago, well, whatever, 10, 15 years ago or whatever, however old Steam is, you still have it in your library. I mean, there is no other digital distribution platform that does that. I bought a bunch of games on my Xbox, on my 360. I mean, if I keep my 360 around, I can keep those games, I guess. But when my hard drive dies, there's really no way to re-download those, especially after the 360's Xbox Live goes down for good. Yeah, that's kind of crazy to me. So of the games in this bundle that I was like super excited about, it was definitely BIT.TRIP Runner and Super Meat Boy. I had played Cave Story Plus previously. I played it on the Wii, and I played Shank on Xbox Live Arcade, but I have like 35 hours of Super Meat Boy on Steam, and I played this game a hell of a lot more off of Steam when it first came out in the Humble Bundle. It was an absolutely awesome experience. Now keep in mind, at this point, I was using my Intel Core 2 Duo-powered Dell Inspiron D820 laptop. It had integrated graphics, but you know what? I was still able to play all of these games. And around this time, I also went to Goodwill, and I just happened to find at Goodwill an Xbox 360 wireless adapter. So I could actually connect it to my laptop and use my 360 controller on my laptop. I plugged my laptop into my TV. Bob's your uncle. I was having a blast. And yeah, that laptop was the only PC that I had at that point. Like, I can't overstate the fact that I was not a PC gamer. I think I was playing OpenRA around this time. That was like the only Linux game that I was playing, really. Right around here somewhere, I got an HP Envy laptop with an AMD A6 APU. I had to use FGLRX to get my graphics working. Do you guys remember FGLRX? What a nightmare. This laptop, I had to use the NDIS wrapper to use the Wi-Fi, and it was and Pulse Audio was just crap with this laptop. It had Beats Audio built into it. Dang, what a different time that was. But you know, on this new laptop, I was able to play a bunch of games from the indie bundles that were coming out. And fun fact, that was the laptop I was using when I first started the channel. The next indie bundle that really excited me was number 5. It had Amnesia, Limbo, Bastion, Psychonauts, Super Brothers Sword and Sorcery, Braid, Super Meat Boy, and Lone Survivor. Do you guys remember when Limbo came out in the indie bundle 5 and people had an absolute cow because it was a wine-wrapped executable? I remember that. And I was a little butthurt about it too, but when I read what the blog was saying, the Humble blog, they were basically saying, you know, when a game comes out and it's been created by professionals who understand wine and the game developers themselves, it's basically near native performance. And that's pretty much the case. Like that was the case for a long time. Now, eventually, a couple years later, Limbo actually did come out with an actual native port. And they released it on Steam, I believe. But yeah, I mean, that was a long time ago. Times have, oh my gosh, I'm feeling so old today. So I ended up skipping number 6, and I went with bundle number 7. It had Shank 2, Snapshot, Indie Game the Movie, Binding of Isaac. Of those, I think the game that I enjoyed the most was actually Snapshot. If you've never played Snapshot, it's this really interesting little indie platformer where you have the mouse and you have like this little frame that you have to move around in the game, and you have to take pictures of things, and when you take pictures of things, they disappear, and then you can right click and you can drop whatever you've taken a picture of into the game, into the world. And you can use whatever you take pictures of to like collect items or like drop them on enemies or use them as platforms. It's super cool. I really like this game a lot. The 8th indie bundle was pretty awesome as well. My favorites in this collection were Thomas Was Alone, Dear Esther, and Hotline Miami. Hotline Miami was probably the one that I played the most, and this is an especially interesting release of the franchise of Humble. I don't know what you would call it, but this is the first one that actually released after Steam for Linux was available. So I was able to redeem all of my Steam codes from all the previous indie bundle purchases that I had made on Steam. And that's when I first created my Steam account, was around the time of Indie Bundle 8. And you know what? I'm growing a little teary-eyed thinking about it. The next bundle was probably the best of all the bundles, in my opinion. We had Trine 2, Mark of the Ninja, Eats Munchies, Brutal Legend, FTL, Fez, Bastion, and Limbo. It's quite possibly the best lineup of games that a Humble indie bundle has ever had. Years earlier, I had played Eats Chow Down on Xbox Live Arcade, and that's where I really became a fan of Clay Entertainment. And now there was a version of Eats Munchies on Linux. What a time to be alive. It was awesome. But then you had Bastion, and you had Fez, and you had Mark of the Ninja and Brutal Legend, and all these awesome, awesome, awesome games in a single bundle. And it just felt so good to be a Linux gamer back then. The 10th bundle had Joe Danger, BIT.TRIP Runner 2, Surgeon Simulator, and Starbound. And I picked that one up, but the only game that I was interested in there was BIT.TRIP Runner 2, or BIT.TRIP Presents Runner 2 Future Legend of Rhythm Alien, which is the name of that game. That was a good game. I was really excited to see that. I think that was, like, I said, I'm buying that one for that one game, thank you. I wasn't particularly interested in the 11th indie bundle. The 12 came, and it had Hammerwatch, Papers, Please, Luftrausers, Gone Home, Monaco, and Race the Sun. And fun fact, the 12th indie bundle was the first indie bundle to be released after I had started my channel. So I actually recovered a couple of the games in early videos on this channel. But the thing was, right, I had a Steam account at that point. I had had one for a couple years, and I had been buying games outside of the indie bundles. All the games that were coming with the indie bundles that I was interested in, from that point forward, I was pretty much, I already had them on Steam. So I kind of slowed down with my indie bundle purchasing. And I'm realizing from like 2010 to 2015 was kind of a golden era, wasn't it? For us Linux gamers. I think back on that time, and I can't help but get a little wistful. I'm legitimately crying right now. I think back on that time so fondly. It feels like a different era. It feels like, I mean, we're spoiled for choice nowadays. We have almost any game that we want that's on Steam at our fingertips, more or less. If it doesn't work with Proton out of the box, someone has probably made a little hack to get it to work, right? I don't know. I think about that time literally as a golden era for us. And it's not something that we're ever going to get back. And now, with the 21st Indie Bundle, we have a couple of the greatest hits of the lineup over the years. I mean, back then, I was subscribed to Jupiter Broadcasting on my Google TV. Their RSS feeds, I watched their videos every time they uploaded a new one. TechSnap and Linux Action Show. And that's where I learned so much about Linux. And now I'm friends with Brian Lunduke. Like, what is happening? What is even happening in my life? I don't know. Thank you to everyone. Thank you to the people at Humble. Why am I crying? What the hell? I just want to say thank you to everybody. I'm like incredibly emotional today for some reason, but yeah, it's just super strange to me that we're at this point now in with Linux gaming, and I'm super excited to see where the future goes from here. I want to say thank you to everyone on Patreon who supports the work that I do. Without them, I wouldn't be able to continue to do this in these weird and uncertain times. If you have the ability and the interest and you believe in what I do, consider supporting the show on Patreon. It makes a world of difference for me. Make sure you head over to LBRY to see my videos before they go up on YouTube. It's a good old time over there. I also have these new shirts. I like this shirt a lot. I think it's really cool. Nobody puts GNU/Linux in a box, right? Thank you so much, you guys. I love every one of you who engages with the show and reaches out to me. You guys are great, and thank you so much for everything that you've done for the channel, for watching over the years. And I think that's going to do it for this video, so make sure you hit that subscribe button, smash that like button, share it with your friends, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a blessed day. Bye-bye.